Hey, this is Eli Campbell. You know, Steamboat is renowned worldwide for skiing, biking, and all that our natural playground has to offer. We're fortunate, though, that the natural beauty here attracts more than just outdoor enthusiasts. From local legends to world-class acts, amazing musicians regularly play the venues in our little corner of Northwest Colorado. Join me as I explore the stories and experiences of these talented artists who bring unforgettable performances to Steamboat. This is your Steamboat Sound Check. Welcome to the Steamboat Sound Check podcast. Eli Campbell here with you. Our podcast presented by McCrite Progressive Dentistry, and we're doing a special highlight of interviews with WinterWonderGrass musicians that'll be in town February 28th through March 2nd. One of those bands being Arkansauce. We've got Tom, Zac, Ethan, and Adams here. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Good.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, thank you guys. Now, I had the pleasure when WinterWonderGrass was announcing their lineup. We did a special interview with Scotty Stoughton and talked about all the bands that were coming. And I'm pretty sure his exact words about Arkansauce was, "Man, those guys rip. You're gonna have to come check them out." So definitely excited to have you coming to Steamboat. Now, you kind of have a traditional four-person bluegrass arrangement, the bass, the guitar, the mandolin, and the banjo, but you're more of a newgrass. You have some more progressive sounds. Can you talk a little bit about what elements of traditional and kind of how you mix in some more different elements to what you bring to the stage?
Yeah, growing up, none of us really grew up in the tradition, around traditional bluegrass. We all come from like metal, classic rock. Studied some classical music and jazz and, all of these other elements, and kind of as adults later in life discovered bluegrass mostly through the jamgrass scene, going to festivals. And then, from Yonder Mountain String Band and Leftover Salmon, we kind of finally ran into Del McCurry and the more trad stuff too, which obviously is like the building blocks of what we do. And so those elements are in there. As a banjo player, I was playing just however I could figure out how to play it for a long time. And then later kind of went back and studied the tradition. But as far as our sound and how we put our music together, it came more from all of these other influences that we grew up with and music that we like. And then there's still the thread of the traditional bluegrass in there with banjo rolls and mandolin chops, and some two-beat aspects. But it's definitely just one ingredient of, dozens of ingredients of what makes up our sound.
Yeah, and it is seen in your newest album. You guys have some songs that kind of have like a 80s almost hip hop flair. You've got some New Orleans funk and jazz type sounds that you're combining into that bluegrass mix. Where, are those the influences that you grew up with? You said that you didn't really discover bluegrass till later in life. What are your influences?
I think like a lot of those sounds in the album come from us just trying to entertain ourselves over the years too. It's like we always kind of have that conversation when we're putting together a new album. We were just having this conversation today about, do you feel like there's too many songs on the album that have this feel? We should try to spice it up, to keep things fresh and entertaining for us in the studio and for the fans. And I think a lot of those influences are coming from, some from the past, but also just stuff we happen to be listening to in the moment. I think we all go through phases where we're into a different new musician in the moment. And I don't know, I can't speak for everyone all the time, but I know I definitely hear stuff on the day-to-day that I'm like, man, I can't wait to find the opportunity to try to work this into a new song, or maybe a song we've already been working on a little bit. So I think some of those influences can be embedded in our, subconscious for years, but sometimes they feel a little bit current too. I hear something really cool and I'm like, man, I can definitely figure out a way to make something like that work on this new tune.
Yeah, and you talk a little bit about kind of bringing something that you're currently influenced by to the band. You guys have a very collaborative songwriting process. You guys work together on not just the music, but also the lyrics of all the songs. How are you able to kind of combine all of those individual influences into a cohesive sounding piece of work at the end of the day?
Usually, it's kind of one person that has like the idea for the song or like the chorus and a verse figured out or something, or the bones of the song. And they'll get that figured out and bring that to rehearsal. And then that's kind of when because it's like one person has, not to say so, but kind of the creativity started it. And then we all kind of put our own inputs in after that.
We're really lucky to all live in the same town, just a few minutes from each other. So when we're not on the road, we get 4 to 6 hours of rehearsal in a week through over 2 different days, and we just have a lot of time to let those new ideas marinate. And pretty soon after we come up with something that one of us is proud of, the rest of the band gets their ears on it and gets to spend some time thinking about it. And then twice a week we get back together and start fleshing it out.
Yeah, it's been a big part of the of how we've developed our sound and how our music comes together. Is for 10 years we've been pretty disciplined about, we set up rehearsal time twice a week, and then everybody kind of set up their other life schedule around that. And so it is through a lot of time in the laboratory, just running through stuff, trying different things, and then also just letting things marinate and let things simmer. I mean, there's a lot of songs that lived in the rehearsal space for a year before it came out. Some stuff is still in the rehearsal space and never come out. And then of course we have some things that come together real quick and we'll start playing them live. But we all kind of agreed, that we were committed to the craft of the music and wanted to put in the time playing together to help kind of develop a band sound.
Yeah, and that has come together with a new song that you guys just released a couple of months ago, Closer You Get, track originally performed by the band Alabama, which you guys, I think, humorously referred to as the second best state theme band of all time. Nothing against Kansas, of course, but I think you're probably putting yourselves as first. What inspired you to
say who was first?
Yeah, what inspired you to recreate that version of that song, and is that kind of show that there's some more new music on the way?
Yeah, that was one I brought to the table. It kind of goes back to what Ethan was saying earlier. I was probably in like a grocery store or something, and heard that original song. And sometimes they just hit you. You're just walking around, and you're like, oh man. And personally, I like to choose songs that have a lot of vocal parts, like oohs and ahs, and like a 4-part harmony thing. So when I hear songs like covers like that, I'm kind of drawn to that. And it's just a solid, fun, clean song. Like, I think it's just a fun song.
I think you guys do a great version of it. I'm hoping that we'll see it live when you come to Steamboat here. You've got WinterWonderGrass coming up end of February and early March, February 28th through March 2nd. What are your thoughts about playing here in Steamboat as part of that big festival alongside some of those bands that you mentioned earlier, Leftover Salmon and Yonder Mountain, who will be here as well?
It's definitely a dream festival. We have a list of festivals, obviously, we've had since we started playing in that pop-up that we want to play. And this has been on that list. So it feels like an achievement. It just shows our hard work kind of paying off. We toured Colorado more than any other state other than Arkansas, probably, but so it's like, it just seems like all our work that we've been putting in for the past 10 years is paying off.
I know that every time we've played in Steamboat over the past couple of years, it's like 50% of the conversations we have while we're in town are about how cool it would be to play WinterWonderGrass. It's just on our minds the whole time because the town's so cool. Even when the festival's not going on, we meet so many cool people there and already have some great memories there. So yeah, it's just kind of building the anticipation for years now.
Yeah, we were talking before we started recording too, how you guys just got about 10 inches of snow. So you can go practice outside to get a feel for what it's going to be like. Whenever WinterWonderGrass comes to town, the snow comes with the festival as well. So you guys, you ski or snowboard at all? You're going to try to get up on the mountain while you're out here?
I mean, besides the prestige of just getting to be on the lineup with all of our heroes, I lived in Colorado for years, and some of us grew up skiing, and we try and get a winter tour in so we can sneak a ski day in or something. But this is just getting to combine those two passions of mine specifically, and just in a dream scenario. So yeah, we'll definitely be up there making some turns.
Nice. Yeah, last year we did some Crescent Butte and snowmobile there. That was like our winter Colorado trip last year.
Yeah, well, we just had a big 28 inches of snow at the top of the mountain, so I'm sure there'll still be some left over for you by the time you guys get here. Now, getting back to the festival, I think what's wonderful about Winter Wondergrass, it's a very family-like feel from the fans to the producers to the bands on stage. You have a lot of people there that maybe have never heard of Arkansauce, but are going to be checking out all the side stage tents and everything else that's going on throughout the weekend. When you're going into a festival venue and a festival atmosphere type of audience, how do you kind of tailor your set list and your performance compared to some of the other venues that you've played?
I think we just always try to bring our A game and try to make it spicy for us, and that makes it spicy for the fans a little bit.
Sometimes too, the time of the set, like if it's a really late night set or something, we'll make it a little more jammy, like a little more psychedelic stuff, if it's like kind of late night style. Like, not to say that we don't do that during daytime sets, but sometimes that'll affect what songs we play.
We got 5 albums of original material, so there's a lot to draw from for what kind of feel you want to kind of throw in there.
Yeah, you guys will be playing multiple times over the weekend, so I'm sure you'll get a different experience every time we see you. You're going to be playing at Winter Wondergrass. Again, tickets are available, winterwondergrass.com, alongside about 25 other bands that are going to be there. We mentioned Yonder Mountain, Leftover Salmon, California Honey Drops are going to be there, Kitchen Dwellers, and many, many others. So get your tickets now. Be sure to check out Arkansauce. Thank you guys so much for your time this morning.
Thanks for having us, man.
Good one.
Appreciate you.